All right, guys, I am going to attempt to speed run talking through the assignment for this week for anybody who wants it. So, basically, part A here with the stats activity document is explaining what this lab is. So, most importantly, these are the two questions that we are looking to address. Part B is just explaining what we did in class with the measuring of the spring and summer leaves. I uploaded the Excel spreadsheet that has our class data into the week 2 module for anyone to access. And part C is just giving an explanation of what is being done in the code that we are going to be working with. So it's for your reference, but it's also laid out in the R script. So the first thing you're going to want to do is download this R script and the fall leaf data CSV and the leaf class data CSV into this folder that you should have on your desktop that has your last name underscore R underscore files. And once you have these three documents that have these exact titles in your folder, you should be able to open it in R. You're going to want to make sure that the documents, the CSVs that you have saved in this folder have these exact titles. So if they don't, you can just rename them to be leaf underscore class underscore data because that is what we are trying to pull up here in line 19. So if it doesn't have this exact title, it's not going to connect here and know that this is the object that you're trying to call with the code. But once you have that done, hopefully you will be able to run these lines with no issue. First, go ahead and make sure you have set your working directory to be this folder that you made. And now run these lines. And if this isn't working for you, I know that was happening with a few people. Please let me know if you're still having issues with that. I'm hoping that we can meet sometime out of class and try to troubleshoot that together or get somebody else who is better at troubleshooting our issues because I want to get that figured out for everyone. And now we are going to import our class data with this line. And if all goes well, we'll get this data frame here in the environment box. You'll be able to open it here and see season, length, and number of holes. If you run this line, it'll pull up the first 6 rows in our data frame. And now here we are creating a new column. So this mutate function that we see here is going to create the new column called hole density. And hole density is being calculated by number of holes divided by the length of the leaf. So run that, and now we see we've got season, length, number of holes, and hole density. All right, now section 3 is descriptive statistics. We're going to separate it by spring and summer. So here we're specifying the season. We're getting length, and this fun equals mean is the average. So that's function equals mean. It's pulling up that down here. We're getting the spring and summer. It's pulling up the season column and the length column. And now we can do that for standard deviation, which is this function equals SD. And same thing for variance. And now we're going to do the same thing for number of holes as opposed to length for the mean, the standard deviation, and the variance. And now the hole density. And if you try to run this hole density section without running this line that creates the new column, it's not going to work. So you might get an error there if you haven't run all of the previous lines of code. All right, now this section is basically just introducing some built-in packages that make looking at data a little bit easier. But the note I have right here is just a reminder that initially this line was written like that, and that will not run. It doesn't recognize it as a object. So you have to have these quotation marks around psych in order for this line to run properly. And then make sure you load the package. And now we can see a whole bunch of statistics. And we can save this as a data frame here. It just makes it easier to look at as opposed to seeing it down here. And now we're going to get into